Okay. Awesome. Okay, well, let's hop in and listen to this interview with Roxanne from earlier today, sharing about her restarting with a fresh slate.
Can anybody else hear? Because I can't hear anything.
No, I can't hear anything either.
Oh, you guys can't hear that?
No.
Had a great time. Didn't know her before then, and that's been about a year and a half ago since then. Since that time, her sponsor coach has changed. She signed up with someone named Shelly, and Shelly is a responsible, reasonable coach who I'm sure offered you tools and trainings and calls. Shelly hit Success Club. She took you actually on that cruise trip, right, as like an incentive prize for her team. Just Shelly, I'm sure, crossed all her T's and dotted all her I's as far as coaching goes. But since then, here shortly in the last 6 weeks or so, Shelly has left Beachbody to pursue a wine passion and has left, which now changes your sponsor from Shelly to Trina Gray, who we all know is our 15-star diamond upline. And I have seen, as your friend who's known you for this year and a half, a real change in your social media presence. Seriously, Roxanne, your smile. Like, I can see a real difference in you. So I, as you know, invited you on the call tonight to sort of share and talk about that coach onboarding process. That's our theme. Was something so different from one coach to the other? What has sparked such a difference in you from your first start with your original coach to now with your newer coach?
The main thing I have to say was how Trina, I felt really, really connected with her, and she actually I could feel that she cared genuinely a ton about me, and she totally just listened to me, and I didn't feel like anything was, at the time, it was all about her. She was wanting to know everything about me, to get to know me, so she could help me out the best that I could. And when this happened, Shelly, it kind of was a blessing for me too. I mean, Shelly's a great person. She's a great coach. I just didn't feel like I was getting everything I needed to, and I felt like that's kind of what held me back too. Even though you have to do this on your own, you have to build your own business, but you still need that support, and you still need that someone to kind of show you a little bit of the ropes and kind of guide you, or take the extra 10, 15 minutes or something just to tell you how to do something that maybe you just don't know how to do. And when this happened, so Shelly left and Parker left before Shelly, which is it was the one right after, or up above Shelly, I'm sorry. So then I'm like, okay, do I continue Beachbody? Like, what do I do? I need to reach out to somebody. And
that really rocked your foundation.
Yeah, and I felt like I have nowhere to go. Like, what am I going to do? Like, do I want to do Beachbody anymore? Do I want to just quit and give up and just do my own thing on the side? And I was kind of lost. And then at the same time, I was going through a really bad relationship breakup, and just 6-year relationship. And I just felt like my whole life was crumbling down on me. And I was like, oh my gosh, how the heck am I going to do this? Like, what am I going to do? I don't even know where to go. I don't know where to begin on anything. And that call with Trina, like, literally changed my life. And she she lit me on fire. She reminded me what's inside of me, and just reminding me, don't care about what anybody else thinks. And I've done that my whole entire life and had a huge confidence problem with it, like, my whole life. In this last probably month, just maybe a little bit under, I've totally changed. Like, I started doing my PD almost every day. I haven't been 100% great at it. I got back into a training, and like I said, I had a lot to do with myself personally. Like, I felt like I needed to help myself first before I can help anybody else again, and I'm still on that. So I kind of haven't done too much with the business side to get things, just because I'm trying to slowly get back started and get myself back into gear. But back to like the Trina call and me doing my PD and getting back into training, I just felt so confident. I felt like alive again. And that confidence, though, that I've never had, like, it was such a blessing that all this came into me. And I'm going to try not to cry, but I got off that call with Trina, and it was like, I think it was only like 4 days later, and I was having the worst morning in my whole entire life. I was over at my ex's house because something had happened that was really hard with just the breakup and everything, and my mail was still going there. And I'm getting ready to leave, and I'm a bawling hot mess. And I heard the mail lady come. And here I go, I'm making sure there was nothing in mine, and here there's a package in the mailbox. And I got a package from Trina, and it was the most simplest, coolest thing, though, but it made me almost fall to the ground on my knees. And it was like a sign from God, like, this is where you're supposed to be. It was a shaker cup, it was a journal, and it was a note card, and it had the best message on there ever. And it was so funny because then she wants me to start journaling, and so I've never really done that, and because I always felt like it wasn't secret or someone might be able to go read it. And so when I opened it up like a day or two later, she actually had another message in there, and it just hit me. Like, everything just went like everything was at the right time for the right reason, and the message was just go have fun and feel free with your thoughts. Let the pen and paper go. And so that's kind of where, that's what happened a little bit with that. I kind of, when I talk, I go from one thing to the other.
No, that's okay. That's good. So I guess for our purpose, when we're trying to help get a coach started right, and we want to do that, you know, most people don't have the background and the depth in this business that Trina does. Like, she's done it for like 9 years, right? So we can't all like pretend to be Trina. But what I can get and then take away from you is that when we show up to a call and we truly make it about them and not just the business interest, that shines through and shows, right? Letting them know that we do legitimately care and showing up for them, it is a big part. And then self-care, your own self-care, how to be where you started. It wasn't about like, okay, well, how are we going to help you get Success Club this month? Like, I'm certain, right, as you're changing your living arrangements, that some extra money would be really beneficial for you, right?
Right.
But that's not the place to start for you. It's taking care of yourself. And then I know on your social media, you've been sharing that with other people too, kind of living it out loud for them. I'm also certain that probably you've heard, don't worry about what other people think, or you be you from sources other than Trina. What do you think made that so impactful to you?
Because I think too is just because when Trina listened to me, she kind of gave me the advice too of like, you know, whatever's happened in your past, or even like I had something with, you know, my parents and stuff where I just don't feel like, you know, I was the perfect daughter or whatever. They always are there to judge because I'm doing a business that they might not care or think that is anything awesome, and they don't have to believe in me. And she's like, no, but they don't have to believe in it. It doesn't matter. As long as you believe in yourself and you go with what makes it for you and your daughter, that's all that matters. And if no one wants to follow you or be next to you side by side, that's fine. And you let them go and you let them do whatever it is they do, but you worry about you and your daughter. And just, she said this one thing, I had it on my notepad, but if you can go ahead and watch me or let's see, you don't have to believe in what I do, or, oh gosh, what was it? You don't have to believe what I do, but you can support me for me and my daughter. Or you don't have to do what I do, or kind of something like that. I have it written down, but
They don't have to be part of the journey, but they can still root for you.
yeah, yep.
Gotcha. Okay, so now again, our purpose here is to help coaches get other coaches started in a way that's appropriate and right for them. So what from this experience that you have, when you sign up a coach or talk to someone about that, like what pieces are you going to try and replicate, or would you encourage other people to replicate?
Definitely ask a lot of questions at first and get to know about their family, where they've been, what bothers them, what affects them, or what has maybe affected them, or what's gone really good in their life. Like just a lot of asking of questions, like really, really, really dive in on getting to know who they are, what makes them tick, what makes them not tick, what hurts their feelings, or, you know, just let them tell their story, or like of how they feel and where they've been. And like, to me, I think that's super huge, because if you can have someone, and you can have a coach, or you can have someone that does all the right things and does everything, and they show up and they do all this, but when they get on a call with you and they do all of the talking, and they finish your sentence for you, and then they continue to keep going on that, and they talk about their own stuff. Yeah, you need to hear both sides of it, but you got it when you're there to have someone like coaching you, like, or you're going to coach someone else, you got to be there to listen to them, and you got to help them with what they need. And that was the biggest thing for me too, is like, holy cow, I have someone to listen to me that really does care about doing something for me or helping me get somewhere. So I think that is like the number one huge thing, is don't make it be about yourself.
All right, so this is pretty complicated. Let me make sure I've got it. Ask them questions, and then listen to the answers.
Yep.
So, here we go.
Yeah, pretty simple,
right?
right? Yeah.
Got it. Ask them questions. Give a care about their responses, and really allow them the safe space to sort of work through what those answers are for themselves. Let me ask you a question here. I know that Trina sends off like 8 to 12 questions that you answer before you get on the call with her, so she feels prepared. Like, what have your relationships with food been? What do you think that Beachbody coach does? That kind of thing. What were your answers there like? Were they really lengthy? Were they pretty short? Did you feel like, oh, this is repetitive, when you'd already answered it in paper and then you were doing it again on the call? Or did it make you feel like she had a good base to get started with you?
I thought that was actually one of the best things, because she did have a base, and she actually she read it before she talked to me. So that was the other thing. She cared. She wanted to get on that call and be prepared and know a little bit about me. And then she kind of said, well, I looked at how you answered this question. Why did you feel that way? Or why did you write that answer? Or how did you come from that? And so that was really helpful too, because I had that, and she kind of had a feel for me before she got to me. So it kind of saved a little time too in the whole conversation, but yet it added so much more too, because she got to ask me questions off of the questions or the answers I already given her. And then so it kind of developed more in depth, I think.
Gotcha. That was the base, and then you could take things further. So the logistics of this call work like this. One, either you reached out to her, she reached out to you, or in most of our cases, a new coach signs up. Okay, and then walk us through what that communication was. She sends you a message and says, hey, I see that you have signed up, or for your case was that I'm now your sponsor coach, right? Would you like to set up a call with me, or an invitation to have a call, correct?
Yeah, she sent me an email, but there was like 4 different steps on that email to do, because being new, and so she's had different things to go on her schedule and set up a different, or set up a time. But then she had you fill out the questionnaire and kind of tell you where you were at and what you've been doing, and so.
And then once you got the questions from her, then the call was scheduled?
Yep, well, it was actually when you go in and do the scheduling, you the questions actually came up in that scheduling thing that she had.
Okay, there was only another minute or two of that left, but we have Kelsey Shackley coming on at 9, which is in just a couple minutes, and I want to honor your time, so I cut that off a little bit. Here's what I think is the most valuable. When I get on a Gangster Right call, I do 90% of the talking. I continue to sell. Part of that is I'm excited. Part of that is I feel like my responsibility is to give them the tools that they need to be successful. And it was like a gut punch when she said, you're finishing their sentences, you're doing most of the talking. I thought, that's what I'm doing wrong. I'm not getting to know these coaches well enough, when we get on the call. So if I could take one thing from her conversation away and give it to you, it would be that. It's not a matter of you giving them an entire business plan. How can you help serve them in their self-care? It's like a challenger on crack, right? It's somebody who's like, yeah, I'm really ready to buy in with you. Like, I'm not at this little level anymore. I'm moving on, right? Instead of dating, like, now we're engaged, like we're in this together. I think that the questions that Trina sends out, and I can get those and I can share them in our team page, are good questions. When I tried to use Trina's system, they weren't my questions, so I didn't really know what to do with the answers, if that makes sense. I'm echoing. I'm going to mute you guys. So I do think that's a good idea, but I think that you should probably compile your own answers. And then I know that I was also, like, say I had to call somebody at 2:00, at 1:50, they were sending me their answers, which gave me no time to review it or understand it or internalize it. So I think I would ask people to send that a little ahead of the time. I also got to talk to Juliana Condia, who I know a lot of people just absolutely love and adore, myself included. She has a slightly different process. I'm going to share that with you guys really quickly. She creates a video that just says, hey, welcome to the team. So excited to meet you. I'm Julianne. Gives a little bit of her stats. Lets them know that she's going to add them to the new Coach Welcome University. She doesn't have quite the amount of lessons in her university that we have in ours, but she likes them to go through their university. And then when they're finished, they shoot her a message and say, okay, I'm through that. I'm ready for my call. And then they get on their call, and she said that their call is all about their self-care too. Great. What program are you doing next? Did you have any questions about that? But it's all about their questions in the business, their self-care, their next program, their process, what they're doing. That she will say to them, okay, great. What are some goals you have in your own personal journey? All right. And then do you feel like you could share about that? Like, what's your comfort level with social media? Do you think you could put this goal out there and share about it? And then after they've been sharing about it for a couple of weeks, she encourages them to say, I want to help 3 women get started and, work on the same goal or the similar goal to what she's having. She told me that she will message her coaches. Like, there's a night that goes by that she doesn't message her coaches and be like, hey, Rachel, your post was great. You need to have a selfie with that next time. Or Christy, your picture was great. I love the verbiage. I wish you would have closed it with a question, which I didn't realize. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of, and I gotta tell you, I was like, oh gosh, what if I sent Rachel a message and asked her to do that? And she was like, great, I can't do anything right, yada, yada, yada. So I don't know, but she's certainly doing something right. So it was food for thought and definitely worth mentioning. Kelsey Shackley has hopped on. Kelsey, thank you so much for being here. Kelsey is a friend of mine. She is a 5-star diamond coach. She's like a Success Club all-star legend. She is a mom of 3 girls, twin girls under the age of 1 right now. How old are your babies? Like these 9 months?
They're going to be 9 months tomorrow.
Okay,
Yep.
See, I'm pretty good at that. She's married to the nicest, funniest man, Dean Shackley, who just thinks that she hung the moon, and their love is just apparent and so sticky sweet that it's not annoying because it's so sweet. She is a friend of mine from the Market Council, and I believe that she runs her business like a CEO. She gets coaches started off well and right, has obviously grown diamonds. And I asked her to come on tonight, even though like everyone in her family is sick. So she's hustled all day long to get them in bed now so she could be on with us and just sort of walk us through what does her getting started right call look like? How does she get people going so that they're posting, actually taking action in this business? And I hope that she'll save a few minutes at the end so we can ask her some questions. But I'm just going to turn it over to her and let her walk us through what her process looks like.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to take you through my process. If you have questions along the way, don't hesitate to ask. So a coach signs up. They're all excited. My first step is to say, yay, I'm so excited to have you. I'm pumped for you. I send them a link to a Google form, which is my About Me form. So in the past, I personally had struggled getting people to just fill it out and email it back to me. So that's their first step. They have to fill out that About Me form. Basically, I'm figuring out what their goals are, what their situation's like. I get their name, their email, their phone number, all of that good stuff. So let's say they go Emerald or hit Diamond, then I don't have to ask for their address. I can just send them something if I want because they filled that out right the day they signed up. Okay, so I do that first. And then after they fill that out, it alerts me because I have my Google form send me an email when they've been edited. So it sends me that email, it alerts me, I go check it. And then I send them a welcome email. In the welcome email, it just says, I'm so excited to get them started right. and I have attached a welcome video. So the video is approximately 30 minutes, and it just goes over how, gosh, it's been so long now that I've actually recorded it. I can send it to you, though. I don't mind at all. I can always send Darla my welcome video. But it just gets them pumped up. I'm creating vision in it for what the business can do. So even if they've signed up for the discount, I'm sending them this welcome email. So they get that. When they're finished with that video, it prompts them to email me when they're finished with that and they're ready for their next steps. At that point, then I run weekly getting started right follow-up calls is what I call them. And they're always on Mondays and they're always at noon. I do that for my sanity. And their group calls very similar to what we're on right now. It's via Zoom and it's always the same Zoom link. So it's created that system for me so I don't have to continually recreate the wheel. So every Monday at noon, I have a follow-up getting started right call. Whether people can jump on it or not, if they can't, I give them the recording. So I've read through their About Me forms, figured out a little bit about their life so I can relate to them in the call. Even if they're not on the call, I would say, Darla's a mom and da-da-da-da, and I'm so excited I can relate to you because of this. And so I'm talking to Darla, even if Darla isn't live on the call, because she's going to be watching the recording. And so that call is about 30 minutes. In that call, I have my little sticky note up here on my board. I create excitement again, and I create the expectations right off the get-go. I go over 4 commitments, the 4 things I want them to commit to. I want them to commit to their workout program and to drinking Shakeology every day. I want them to commit to some sort of personal development every day. And I give them a couple options of what I personally really like and what I think they should get started with. The third thing is I want them to commit to building relationships and just reconnecting with people. So I'm not having them invite yet, just getting.
Uh-oh, Kelsey, we lost you. You froze. Can you hear me? Oh, great. There you are.
Oh, no. I was wondering.
Yeah, you froze. Sorry, we were just on. Hello. On building relationships that you're not asking them to invite. That's where we lost you.
Yes, perfect. I thought because I froze up, so I stopped. And so, yeah, I'm not having them doing any inviting yet. I'm literally real life. I am not having them doing any inviting yet because when I was a new coach, I was very nervous about that. It really just connecting with people was nerve-wracking. So in the very beginning, I'm just having them reconnect with people. I'm having them create their list of 100 people that they know, like, and trust. To reach out to first. So what I do is I have them create that list of 100 people they know, and then I take that list and I say, pick 10 of those people who you genuinely like. They don't have to be into fitness. They don't have to, they're maybe don't. Sometimes I think people I know, at least I did, I prejudged people. I thought, oh, they would make a good coach, or they need this in their life or whatever. And instead of just basing it off of who they were as a person. So, have them reconnect with people who they just genuinely think the world of, whether they're into health and fitness or not, and reconnecting with those people first. And then after they've gone through those 10, then working on their next 10. So that's the third thing. And then the fourth thing that I have them commit to is their new coach training, and to make sure that they are a good student and going back to school. And, they can take it at their own pace, but make sure to watch the stuff and then ask questions. Make sure that you're really engaged in that. And then I kind of give them next steps, and then I open it up to like a Q&A at the very end. For the people that are on, I let them ask questions. So after that call, then I either get them plugged into a challenge group if they've never been in a challenge group before. So sometimes people sign up to become a coach because they've done 21 Day Fix, or if they were like me, they had a burned copy of P90X and they'd bought Turbo Fire off Amazon. So I was already believing in Beachbody. I already fully loved Beachbody. I just had never been in a challenge group. I had never connected with other coaches. So I get them plugged into a boot camp if they haven't, or a challenge group, whatever you call yours, if they haven't done that yet. And then I also get them plugged into my new coach training, which I actually have on a website. It's self-paced. They go through it at their own timing. I've done the Facebook group thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I did the a Facebook group, and then I had done a website, went back to Facebook group, and I'm like, no, I personally just love the website doing their self-paced thing. And then I get them plugged into a new coach group message thread on Facebook. So all of my new coaches that maybe sign up in September, I'll start a September new coach thread. So that way, when they do have questions while they're going through it, they can ask it in there, and I can answer it, but I'm answering it to a group of people versus each individually. And then that's just a way for me to stay connected with them too. And then I get them plugged into the team page.
All right, that's what I was going to ask about. When do you add them in the team page? When they've sort of like earned their spot by sort of completing this process? What if they never even fill out their About Me form? What do you do with them? They just float in space, or what?
Okay, so like they typically fill out the About Me form because it's not super long. And I basically say like, okay, this is what you're doing first. Like I don't plug them into anything until they've done that. And they're usually really excited. So because before that I was struggling to have people fill out the About Me form. And I'm like, fill out the About Me form. Fill out the About Me form. And so that's why I started doing it that way, because I felt like, well, that's your first step. Fill that out. Then I can send you my welcome email. So yeah, there's coaches that come in at different levels. So so let's say they get the welcome email and they're just purely wanting the discounts right now. I wouldn't really expect them to say, hey, I'm ready for my trainings or whatever. So I would just plug them into the boot camp. Typically I know that right off the get-go, but I go ahead and send them the About Me form or the welcome email. That way, if at ever time like they're ready, then they can go, okay, I'm ready from that. And then I can plug them into what they need to following. I do plug them into the team page right away. And then I just let them know, like, don't focus right now. Your focus, because you're going to Google things, you're going to YouTube trainings. Like there's all these like things coming at you and it can be very overwhelming and confusing. But right now I want you to commit to and focus on those 4 things: your workout, your PD, connecting with people, and the new coach training. Everything else, just kind of block out right now. That's what your focus is. What was your other question, Darla?
I don't know, but I'm on to another one.
Okay.
So then they do that. They do the new coach training. They've committed to those 4 things. They've maybe gone through a 21-day challenge group with you. They're like, okay, all right, coach, put me in. I'm ready. Like, then what actionable steps do you sort of give them? Or how do you sort of, say their goal is to pay for their Shakeology, basically hitting Success Club 5 every month. They're not trying to retire their husband. They just, I'm in it. What do I do?
Yeah. Okay. So what I do in my team page is about halfway through the month, like I'm tagging my coaches, like, so it's the 15th of September, let's just say. And Darla's at Success Club 4. I'm at 0, but I want to hit 6. So I comment below and I tag all my coaches, like Darla's at 4, so-and-so's at 2, so-and-so's at 10. Who really wants to continue to change lives this month, or who's really in this to hit at least 6 to help at least 3 people minimum. I'm going to start a group message thread for the end of the month push. Who's in? And so even if someone's hit 10, but maybe their goal is 20, they might still be in it. Or maybe they're at 0 and they want to help 3, they may say they're in. And then I start that group message thread just to give them like, I kind of have a collection of like follow-up scripts that I have just captured from other coaches, basically how to hit Success Club and at the end of the month, different things that I can throw at them in that group message thread to help them achieve their goals. If they're like, this is a lot of the times where they'll say, oh, this person's having an objection about price, then I can kind of help them on, okay, well, this is what I would say, or something along these lines. Always relate to them. Remember to relate to them. Things like that. So that's kind of how I run those every single month in that group message thread.
So that sounds like what I know I did for Team Cup. It's like you take half of the month and run a little mini Team Cup sort of series with whoever wants to. and push.
Yep.
Do you, so I sign up and I'm like, okay, awesome. This is great. Kelsey, you're so pretty. What do I do? Do you give them a post schedule? Do you encourage them to hit Success Club right away? Is that something you kind of put on the back burner and let them move at their own pace? Like, what kind of expectations do you set for someone who wants to get their Shakeology paid for?
Hit Success Club in their first full month as a coach.
Okay.
Definitely. I'm like, let's help 3 people get started. And in my new coach training, I really focus it. So my intentions were, well, I'm always like, oh, I don't know. What about this person that wants to go full force? And what about this person that's like kind of in, kind of out? What about this person that doesn't know? Or what about this person that wants the discount? In all of my trainings, I'm talking to runners. So I'm saying, let's hit Success Club in your first full month. I'm saying, let's go Emerald as fast as possible. I'm talking to the runners because that's who I want to attract on my team. And I feel like if they don't want to go, they're not going to either way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the ones that won't, and the ones that want it are good. They want to know what they need to do. So that's who I'm talking to in all my new coach training stuff.
In your new coach trainings, many of you guys may or may not know that Beachbody provides basically, I don't even know what it's called, like 30-day coaching. Like they provide a template of what you guys know as Rock the Business or Rock the Basics. Trina Gray is our upline. And so she's taken it and, changed the photos and added her own voice and things like that. But it's the same general outline. Do you use something like that? Have you invented your own from scratch? What does your training look like?
From scratch way back before Beachbody did that.
Okay.
I think. And I've just kind of kept it because I did little videos for mine. So I have like little 5-minute videos. And then if I come across a training that I'm like, ooh, this would go really great with that, then that's kind of like a part 2 for that. I might add it on the bottom of that or whatever. And you guys are more than welcome to go check out. I have my first website, and then I don't know, Darla, if you're aware of this, but it's called Thinkific. I'm going to totally screw it up. It's a website, but it's completely free. And you can upload videos or trainings or whatever. And basically, if I was like your new coach, I would have to create a login, and I would have to click next before I could go on. So if I'm asking you a question and you're like, it's in the training, you could log in and see where I've left off to see if I've even gotten there yet or not, or have I completed anything, and I'm just asking you questions. Like, you can kind of see all of that. So I just started that. Actually, October will be my first month using it. So we'll see. But it's basically the same concept as my old website. It's just that I don't know where they're at with everything. So.
I like Thinkific.
Yeah, it's like Thinkific, I think. I can send it to you.
Thinkific, I think.
Yeah, it's weird.
.com.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, no, that would be super helpful. Okay. Guys, what questions do you have for Kelsey? I see Rachel working for her unmute. Maybe not.
I'm
There you go.
typing because I'm watching.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I don't know how to ask this.
Okay. How do you keep track for your follow-ups?
For follow-up with coaches?
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not like super great at checking in like on a regular basis. Where's my that? Okay, so on my business activity tracker, I have mentor/recognize, like a little column in there, and I've specified days where I check in with certain people. So on Mondays, I check in with my mentorship coaches who are basically in my new coach training right now that are going through that. On Tuesdays, I check in with my newer coaches. So maybe they're finished with the new coach training. Maybe they went through it in 21 days. they're done, but I would still consider them newer. You know what I mean? So maybe they're like into month 2, month 3 kind of thing. So I'll check in with those coaches on Tuesdays. And then on Wednesdays, I check in with my top coaches. So I want the ones that you think don't need you, but they actually need you. You know what I mean? Because they don't come to you with questions, things like that. So I check in with them on Wednesdays. Thursdays is my day. I check in with my boot campers one-on-one. So I might send them a message or whatever. And then Fridays, I just have off with more personal checking in. I mean, of course, if I feel the need to check in on somebody or they've messaged me, I will, but that's kind of my system for following up with my team.
Rachel said, do you ever give up on the ones that don't respond or take action?
I never give up on them. I'll always believe in everyone because I feel like everyone has potential to do this business. But our time is very valuable. I'm not going to drag them along. So if they're not meeting me halfway, I'm not going to give up on them, but I'm also not going to give them a ton of my time anymore until they start meeting me.
So we just heard right before I had you on, I had another coach, Roxanne, on. Her coach quit to go do something else. So she's moved up and is now personally sponsored by Trina. And so she had a new Getting Started Right call with Trina because she's new to her, even though she's been a coach in this business for several years. And it's completely restarted her and lit a fire. And I think just from being a third party and watching it, that her relationship with her coach was stale, that she probably wasn't checking in on her anymore. But Roxanne had not given her coach a reason to continue to check in on her, right? She'd shown her for years she's doing little to nothing. So what I really learned from that relationship is just to continue, just as we would with conversations of people, that we've asked if they're interested and they're not. Okay, well then, time goes on and then they are, but we've got to continue to circle back around.
Yeah.
Circle back around. So that was really a learning, experience for me to kind of view that from this vantage point. So
yeah, because you never want people on the other end to think you think that they couldn't do the business anymore or whatever.
Or that you've given up on them or they were just a number to you. And I gotta be honest, that's where I feel embarrassed. I never feel embarrassed talking to a challenger or if a challenger drops off or comes back or whatever, but I do with coaches. I feel like that becomes such an intimate relationship when it sort of dies off on their side. I feel almost embarrassed to pursue them. Why don't you love me? What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
How can I make you love me again? that kind of thing. So anyway,
right. You feel like you're trying to win them. But
yes, that's a great way to put it. To have it broken down in the days so that it's just part of the process. I'm going to follow back up with XYZ coaches. So that's awesome.
And for me, it doesn't take, I always think, oh, that's one more thing, but it doesn't ever take very long, even if it's just a couple sentences, just, hey, thinking about you. How are you doing? How's life?
Okay. And I was just going to ask, what does something like that look like for you?
Yeah.
So, okay.
It kind of depends on the person, but it's usually super short.
This was really awesome. If Suzanne or Amy or someone doesn't have a question, we're going to let you go clean up, baby vomit, and all that other fun stuff that you're knee deep in right now. Is everybody good? No one has a question right now is a new coach. Sometimes, hold on, it's cut off. Let me see. We can sometimes put others on a pedestal and be intimidated to reach out and ask questions, or that we're annoying or whatever. Meaning to your sponsor, you hate to constantly. I see that. Do you have anything to say to that, Kelsey?
No, that's why I love my group message threads, because there are those people, those new coach group message threads I was talking about, because somebody might go, oh, I have a question. They'll ask it, and everyone else is probably thinking, I had that same question. I'm glad she asked it. So I feel like that helps, and it kind of breaks the ice for them to go, oh, okay, it's okay to ask questions. I think I'm going to go ahead and ask one, So it just kind of gets the ball rolling and makes people feel comfortable.
I not to speak for you, but I know for myself, when I have a coach like everyone on this line right now that's taking action, I don't mind if you ask me anything at all. When I do feel a little bit annoyed is when someone does nothing and then they want to message me for a question that could so easily be just FAQ, sir. You could Google this but you're bothering me with it instead of taking any kind of action on your own. That starts to wear. But
No, I'm always like, if you are doing the new coach training and you're watching those videos and you have questions, good for you. You should be asking questions. Like, this is your going back to school portion. Like, that's awesome. So I agree.
Yeah, if you're showing up in class and you have a question, bring it on. When you're skipping class and you want me to like give you the Cliff Note version of the assignment that we went over, that's when it's like, oh, okay.
You said that perfectly, Darla. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Awesome. Dude, thank you, my friend. You are
You're
always
welcome.
just my favorite, and I appreciate it. And if you don't mind to share that, I think a fan or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Link, that would be really helpful. We
I'll
appreciate
send
your
that
time
to
so
you.
much,
I'll
Kelsey.
send that to you, my new coach welcome video, and my old website if you want to check it out. So.
Dude, you're so gracious as always. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have
All
a
right,
great
talk
night.
to you soon. Thanks, you too. Okay, my friends. This is the last thing I wanted to say as far as our team goes. What's going up in October is this. I am loving this accountability tracker thing that we're doing every night. And we can't do that every day for like all of the months, but I feel like it's helping us take traction. I know that it's making me be super focused. And I don't know why I've gotten out of the habit of tracking, but sort of in that spirit, in the month of October, each week on a Sunday, I'm going to release like a posting schedule for the week, very similar to what I did when I would do the entire month or block. And I thought it would be really cool if we committed to trying to follow it. Like, I don't necessarily have a hard time coming up with things to post, but I don't know if they're all over the place or not. You know what I mean? Am I really getting my message across, or am I posting the same sort of thing all the time? So each week to release that, and then try as a group to be like, hey, here was my healthy grocery haul. This is what this looked like, or, you know, whatever, for each of the weeks in October. Julianne Condia is going to do our team call on the 19th. And you guys, she was like, well, how are you guys doing your event and your event invites? And I was like, we don't do that at all. She's like, great, let me teach you that new tool. So she's going to talk to us about inviting, and she's going to talk to us about a new tool that she's using for hitting Success Club, recruiting, things like that. I can't even tell you more about it because I don't even know. I've never done it. And then lastly, on the 23rd through the, I don't know, at least 27th, we're going to do a Team Wine Clean Week. I hope that this will be a great thing for you to invite challengers to, but more importantly, you know, all of you guys on the call really have sponsor coaches. So hopefully, you know, newer, younger coaches, this would be a really easy thing for them to invite for and not feel like they have the whole workload on their back. So we'll do that as a team-wide thing. I think what I'll do is essentially, if you have people that are joining it, I'm going to allow you to be a poster. So if, for example, Rachel doesn't actually bring anyone to the group, of course we want her to be in there and participate, but she wouldn't be responsible for creating one of the posts. But if Suzanne brings 3 people, Suzanne's going to be in charge of the Tuesday morning post or whatever, and you can just sign up for the post that you want in the Google Docs. So we all have a chance to sort of provide content. At the end of it, we'd all have the content from the whole thing. Oh, great, Rachel. So you can add people to this one, or you can do 2 combined. You can do it with your team, or you can do it on your own, you know, whatever, or however that wants. We just haven't done a team accountability group in a really long time. So I'm excited about that. The coach sneak peek is on the 3rd. Based on our Sunday night call last week, we're all trying to invite. I've got 9 people that I committed to invite. I've invited 4 so far. 1 coach, 1 maybe coach, still following up with the other ones. Yeah, that's it. What questions? Where are you a little fuzzy on all this from tonight? Anything? Oh, great. That's fantastic. I'm glad you guys got it. I'm going to hit stop recording.